Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm still setting up just so people are aware. Welcome, everybody. Let's keep it cute, please, 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 in the chat. I'm asking so we can listen to the press conference. I would really appreciate it. Please and thank you. Th- Shout out to everybody. I just want to make sure we understand. Let's keep it cute because I know, and I'm really trying because I know it gets us somewhere else every time we do any type of press conference or anything. So I really think it would be great if we just kept it cute, okay? I just want us to get to the information. Thank you. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Thank you, everybody. Let me mute myself while I share this because I still have to set up the stream, okay? Thank you guys. Thank you. One second, guys. Welcome everybody. We are just now setting up and everything. So give me a minute, please. I'm gonna go. I don't even have my coffee yet. I don't have my coffee yet. The only thing I ask, guys, is let's keep it on the news and keep it cute, please. And thank you. I know we can do it. I know that this kind of news is such a hot topic and a button for a lot of folks. Please, I ask you, let's just keep it cute and respectful, okay? Thank you. Let me let the people know that we're live now. We live now. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good morning, everybody. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let me I need some coffee. I don't have my coffee yet. Let me put this up here. Shout out to everybody, guys. Thank you guys for coming through. Welcome, welcome. I'm gonna run and get my coffee while it hasn't started. We still got like 5 minutes, okay? Oh my god, Didi. Thank you, Didi. Thank you. Didi just gifted 5 memberships, guys, as we're waiting to set up. Thank you, love. And shout out to Didi who was like in the Discord. I'm gonna keep it cute, Rabbit. I'm gonna keep it cute. I love Didi. Thank you, Didi. Thank you. All right. Let me I gotta get some stuff, y'all. I'm not ready. I'm gonna leave it and I'll be right back. My avatar is still on the rabbit. Let me just make sure I change that. I haven't been able to change the picture. Hold up, y'all. Hold up, guys. Oh, dang it. How come I can't change my avatar picture? Dang it. I should have changed it before I came in. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to change my avatar picture real quick. Y'all hang tight, okay? Y'all hang tight. Okay, wouldn't let me change my picture right now. I guess it's because I've already started the stream. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Thank you, guys. Everybody come through. Let me see what's going on. Said I can't get membership. I don't know what's going on. No worries. Maybe next time. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. Yes, guys, let's keep it respectful. Tico Tits. Oh Lord. Tico Tits, thank you so much. You're entitled to your opinion. We just trying to keep it respectful here, okay, love? I know how you feel. I know how a lot of people feel. Let's just keep it cute, please and thank you. That's what I'm asking. I asked that in the Discord. I really appreciate it. But thank you so much for the 20. I just asked that, we keep it cute, all right? We're really just trying to get the news, okay? Thank you. Let me go and run and get some coffee. Forgive my picture, okay? This is from the New Year's Eve party, all right? Nothing has started yet, guys. I'm waiting to see what is going on. Welcome, everybody, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. We are here. Um, damn. This is like news that a lot of us woke up to, just so people are aware. We're waiting for the press conference to start. Um, oh my gosh. Let's go to while we wait.
Esta situación, porque fue la orientación del presidente Nicolás Maduro, que nos dijo, si algo me pasara, debemos irnos a la insurrección en cada calle.
Never mind. Switching back. Oh shit. The Venezuelan people are not playing, y'all. They are pissed. I don't know what like wow. I'm listening a bit of the Venezuelan vid. Get ready, y'all. Get ready, okay? Keep it cute, guys. In the chat. Thank you, thank you. Emmy Chu. This is crazy work. Abby. Oh my goodness. Abby. Oh my god, this is not good. Abby, thank you so much for being a member for freaking 30 months. Thank you, Abby. Thank you. Appreciate it. Shout out to Abby, y'all. Member for 30 months. Thank you. Does anyone think that the US may be in danger out of this? Listen, waking up to this news, and I mean, I wouldn't even say I was waking up to, well, I think I was somewhat up when I heard about it last night, and I didn't go live because I was really tired and I was working on some other stuff. Yeah, Maduro has been on the US radar for quite some time. So this isn't like, I'm not surprised. I'll be honest with you at all. I'm not surprised at all. Because that's just how things are, you know? Let me see. I'm gonna get some of these comments off my face. Welcome, everybody. Will you read Maria Machado's press release? I will, Venus Blue. Thank you so much. And by the way, Venus Blue, I think you were the one who put it in the Discord first about the news. Hold up. Venus Blue. See if I can pull it on the did you put it on the Discord? Let me know. I'm here. I'm listening to the people of Venezuela, you know, and they are not. It's not good. Let's see. While we wait for things to set up. This is not good news, guys. It's never good to wake up like that. Hold up.
The strategy President Trump is developing and his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, they know very well with whom they're dealing with. This is not a legitimate president. This is the head of a criminal structure that was already defeated in a presidential election by landslide. So they know how to deal with these kind of individuals that are criminals, narco-terrorists. And I believe that Maduro will get a very clear picture of what are his options and what's the future for Venezuela.
What would be your message to Americans who are worried that this could become another costly foreign entanglement for them?
I believe it's exactly the contrary. Maduro started this war. President Trump is ending this war. A transition to democracy in Venezuela will make the Americas, including the United States, safer, more secure, and more prosperous. Because Venezuela, our country, has been turned into that safe haven for all those enemies, forces that want to undermine the institutions of the United States and also kill people in Venezuela and in your country. So we are solving and dismantling a criminal structure that has produced great pain and turned our country, our nation, into the best ally of the United States, a security shield for the Americas, and a huge opportunity for energy security as well. And one thing very important, Rachel, millions of Venezuelan migrants will come back home the day Maduro goes.
Okay. All right. We're setting up the situation right here. Emichu says, hold up. Now, I'm sorry. I know I'm behind on the super chat. Gracias por cubrir la noticia de los venezolanos. Dentro y fuera de Venezuela estamos celebrando la libertad de nuestro país de la dictadura. Wow. Emi, so ustedes están celebrando. Okay. Emmy says that they're celebrating, the freedom from the dictatorship that they've had in their country in Venezuela, guys. Let me know what you guys think about Emmy. Shout out to Emmy. Emmy, gracias por favor. Gracias por tu super chat. Y gracias por venir y estando aquí en mi chat. Muchas gracias. Hold up. Let me see. Tikotet says, since when was America's first regime change in other countries and starving our own citizens of resources? I don't know. It's like, again, kind of like just in the news aspect of this, right? Y'all know I really don't try not to get into the political side of stuff, right? But I'm trying to understand the why. I know that Maduro is not someone that they just decided, like, it wasn't like we just woke up and we said we got issues with Venezuela. No, this has been an ongoing thing. This has been an ongoing thing for sure for quite some time. He said yes, that was the other thing too. Thank you for minds, y'all. I was not impressed by how we did the people of Venezuela here in this country, especially when they were leaving, right? They were here leaving from what was going on over there, and then suddenly there's this mass deportation of that. I don't care how you guys land on that. Nobody's ever going to convince me different. That to me was not okay at all, because you had people coming into the community, the Venezuelan community, trying to, make them switch sides and whatnot, and then they're having to be deported and whatnot. I'm not cool with that. You said my friend's father was in prison for political reasons. Talking against Maduro, they're celebrating. Some of them are celebrating. Look, it just depends on where you go, because I don't see a whole lot of celebration in Caracas. Look at this right here, y'all.
Nos permite dar una lectura en el marco geopolítico mundial. El presidente Chávez hizo un periplo internacional de alianzas específicas internacionales con China, Rusia y los países emergentes. Y por eso nosotros debemos acompañar y pedir la restitución de nuestro ciudadano presidente Nicolás Maduro Moro, que ha sido por la vía constitucional ese 15 de diciembre de 1999, que nosotros, la única constitución desde el 11 de diciembre de 1811, 27 constituciones, la única constitución que ha permitido sufragar el pueblo y tomar decisiones trascendentes. ¡Bolívar y Chávez vive!
La patria sigue.
¡Viviremos y venceremos!
Gracias, compatriota. Muy interesante. Seguimos su nombre y su mensaje. Estamos en vivo.
Saludo solidario y revolucionario, comprometido con el proceso socialista y antiimperialista, militantes de la UPD, del partido de Isla Raúl, presente y siempre consecuente con el presidente Nicolás Maduro Moro y la camarada Silvia Flores. Le exijo al presidente.
Yeah, they're definitely cheering one or the other. Sister Craft, here's the deal. As long as we keep it cute, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. We're literally just talking about the news, about what is happening. As long as we keep it cute and respectful, we have to understand that not everybody voted for one person or the other. I'm always, in real life outside of here, I have people in my life that are kind of both ends, and I do my best to love and appreciate both, and I might not necessarily agree with either side. As long as we keep it cute, I'm good with that. But Sister Craft, I've never had an issue with you. Y'all are amazing. So as long as we keep it cute and adult wise, we're all good. Thank you. First, stop believing that the U.S. media, Maduro was legally voted out into Venezuela government as the president. The United States is against Venezuela because they are voting in more. Oh, okay. You said, I think we could talk. We just don't label it specifically, but like, yeah, I think we have a conversation, right? I'm good with it. Like, I just feel like as long as we keep it respectful, like that's it, because we never gonna agree on everything, right? That's just it's crazy to think that we would. Um let's see, hold up. Somebody said in the chat how you notice that these are older people that are here, but they're angry. Emi, ¿usted qué piensa acerca de las personas que están aquí platicando y en support of Maduro?
Vente, para que hable. Su mensaje, su nombre y su mensaje para toda Venezuela.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es, y siempre lo he sido, Raúl Rojas, trabajador de la construcción, abogado y en esta lucha civil. Señores, lo que ha pasado hoy es un momento que nosotros debemos tener calma y cordura. ¿Por qué? Porque realmente nos llevaron a nuestro presidente. Es una de las situaciones que nosotros como venezolanos debemos tener calma y cordura sobre esta situación, sobre lo que está pasando para Venezuela. Pues, vea, escuchen la parte jurídica. Señores, fíjense, ningún país del mundo ha hecho lo que hizo Venezuela. Venezuela está investida de una constituyente. Eso radica que realmente ningún país del mundo puede hacer lo que hizo el presidente Donald Trump. Hacer una violación dentro de su constitución. Y lo voy a expresar ahorita. Señores, aquí lo que debemos seguir calma y cordura. Y el pueblo debe bajar, porque el problema no es el presidente Nicolás Maduro. El problema es el pueblo. El pueblo.
Oh, wow.
Camarada.
They don't see the president, Maduro, as the problem, by the way, just so people are aware. I don't know where, like they're screaming it out loud. Rosa Garcia, she says, paid by government to support Maduro, same that Christina Kirchner did, and I'm Argentinian. Wow. We have people from different sides of the world. They're basically arguing. So they're outside, and these are people that support the president of Venezuela, right? And they're not too happy about what has happened. And so they're basically just, arguing and saying about kind of where they stand and that they support the president. It's not the president who's the problem, but the people. So it's kind of weird messaging. Rabbit, the video that you were seeing people in the street, it's not a lot of people. This is propaganda that has been going on for 2 decades, says Emmy. Oh, look at y'all. Okay. Interesting. You said, I am my person of that age, and I believe that by the time you are that far along in life, you've seen a lot that are very invested, says Cassie. Okay. All right. And thank you, Emmy, so much. So much for this. Okay, I think we're about to get started here. The sound went off. Okay, I really didn't want to see that guy's head. That is a great question. Hold up. I'm gonna try to pull some stuff. Hold on. So some of you guys might be asking, like, who is this Maduro guy? You're like, what do we know about him? I saw somebody in the chat ask that. So he was a bus driver, all right, who has led Venezuela with a heavy hand. At least that's how it's being described. After succeeding Hugo Chavez in 2013, because I remember Hugo Chavez as well. Maduro um basically pursue the politics and opponents and repeatedly stage sham elections. This was what people are saying, that he staged a lot of sham elections while his supporters hailed him as a hero who stood up to the US. Nicolas Maduro ruled Venezuela with a heavy hand for more than 12 years, presiding over deep economic and social crisis and persistent pressure from the domestic opponents and foreign governments for political change. His rule abruptly ended today, this morning in the middle of the night, by Donald Trump when he announced that the American forces had captured and flown him out of the country. So, 63-year-old socialist and handpicked successor of the late Hugo Chavez, Maduro was long accused by critics, both at home and abroad, for being a dictator who jailed and prosecuted political opponents and repeatedly staged sham elections. He wasn't trying to leave. Since 2013, he wasn't trying to leave, y'all. Maduro, so he has a flair for the theatrics, often called opposition politicals fascist demons, and took pride in resisting U.S. pressure against him, even having his what is it? Hold up. So he had a song against Donald Trump. Yes, peace, not war. He was sworn in the third term in January 2025, following a 2024 election that was widely condemned as fraudulent by international observers and oppositions. All right, did we get started yet? Not yet. Hold up, guys, because I'm like looking at both. I'm reading what the article says, okay, guys? Y'all don't have to agree with me. I'm just reading what the news says about this guy. All right. He was sworn in the third term in January 2025, following a 2024 election that was widely condemned as fraudulent by international observers and oppositions. Thousands of people who protested against the government's declaration of victory were jailed. Venezuela's opposition, the United States, and many other Western countries also consider Maduro's election a win in 2018 to be a sham. So was he? And I'm not surprised, right? Because people can do this. His government repressed measures were highlighted by the award-winning 2025 Nobel Peace Prize opposition leader Maria. So that was Maria Machado, who we just watched. So she won the Nobel Peace Prize. So she just spoke on Fox News about why she supported what President Trump just did. After Trump announced last October that he was authorizing the CIA operations in the country, Maduro blasted those demonic powers that aim to sink his claws into Venezuela to steal our oil. You guys said in the chat that this was about oil. Maduro has long denied U.S. accusations of connections to drug smuggling and corruption. So that was what Emmy said in the chat as well, that there's a connection. A lot of people are saying this, by the way, and I've heard this, and this is why there were so many Venezuelans that fled the country. But that's my question: is that if you have Venezuelans that were, leaving the country, why are we deporting those people and jailing them? Like, I don't get that part, because we know that clearly if there's a lot of stuff going on in Venezuela, why are we doing that? I don't get it. But anyways, in August, Washington doubled its reward for $50 million over Maduro's arrest. Allegations of drug trafficking links to criminal groups. Trump, ratchet up the pressure in recent months with a huge buildup in the U.S. military in the Southern Caribbean. More than 24 strikes on vessels allegedly involved in trafficking drugs in the Pacific Ocean and Caribbean seas, and ramping up of sanctions. So Maduro, of course, is denying any kind of allegations or anything like that of any human rights violations. He's denied abusing political and human rights, describing his government as being at odds with what he views as decades-long imperialism campaign and the socialist movement and the take on Venezuelan oil. So he and his government called the sanctions by the US and others illegitimate measures that mounted to an economic war destined to cripple the country. His supporters hailed him as a hero, which we're seeing a lot of that here, and stood up to Washington in the traditions of the Cuba Fidel Castro traditions. Yeah, this is giving Cuba Fidel Castro traditions. Okay, I think we're about to get started. Hopefully, we got some sound set up. Welcome, everybody, guys. Thank you so much for keeping it cute. Keeping it cute in the chat. Thank you, guys. Let me know. This is a difficult situation for sure, but I'm not down for any kind of Cuban regime either. So I'm just letting y'all know. I'm not down for that. But I do wonder. And I want to make sure that we are, if it's this, then I'm concerned about that. I want to make sure that the intent was what it was. And I want to also make sure that when we say that there's drug trafficking ties, that we're actually substantiating that, right? Please note that. Like we're not just saying that just because it's a Venice, it's a country over there and this is what we go and do all the time. That's what I got to say about that. Yes. We're just waiting for the press conference, guys. So is this like Mar-a-Lago here? Is this where we do press conferences now? Absolutely. Yeah, two things can be true at the same time. Thank you, my honey bear. Two things can be true at the same time. I agree. Yeah. All right, hold up, y'all. And we are back. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, everybody. That music world wonder, I can agree with you on that. For sure, for sure. Okay. We're waiting for the presser guys to start. They're saying that he was captured in Caracas, Sailor Princess. That's what they're saying, that he was captured after a US strikes, airstrikes. So they were targeting the capital and whatnot, and they captured him in Caracas and whatnot. So apparently he's been flown to the US by troops and law enforcement. And I think he's being detained and held somewhere, that's for sure. So this capture occurred after low-flying aircrafts were reported with major military sites. Right now, they're saying that there's a national emergency declaration by Venezuela. Okay. That's my biggest concern right now, honestly. That if we're gonna be, anyways, I'll say that comment later. I'm hoping that we can get started here pretty soon. Yeah, we have some Venezuelans here, Lucky. We have some Venezuelans here. Some Venezuelans like Imi Chu is definitely oh my god, Amy, I missed this super chat. I would love to provide more context if you want me to we can chat. Absolutely, Amy. You need to hit me up. Let me know, love. Amy here is a supporter and she very much supports this. She feels like there has been a lot of corruption going on in Venezuela and whatnot. So, I mean, I think people can see this in different ways, right? Whether depending on what end you see this, I think we could see this in both ways. That the Venezuelan president could also not be a good guy, and here we are. You said, can you explain the possible reasons or connections were from the Venezuelan president and the allegations? What allegations? The ones that we just read? They're accusing him that he's ran a lot of sham. He's been in office since 2013, and that he's ran a lot of sham elections. Now, again, Maduro is not somebody who. I mean, you've had people that have fled the country, guys. So you have people that feel like this guy is not a good guy. But that's my thing. Is like we should be supporting the Venezuelans, right? Especially those that fled. We should be supporting them and not, try to win, especially if they're here, with the visa and whatnot. We should be supporting them and not try to deport everybody and their mother. You know what I mean? You said he was indicted years ago. You're right. Let's see. This is why Jazzy Jazz, right? This is why. And by the way, yeah, we're literally, let's keep it cute and respectful. Thank you guys again. Y'all are doing amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're waiting on this, man. This is like, didn't we supposed to start at 9:00? We're waiting for us to start. So is he in? I'm trying to find out. I think they said that he's already in U.S. soil. Okay, and he is. His charges, for those that don't know, before. Hold up. Let me see if I can pull them real quick. I don't want to be misspeaking or anything like that. Let's see. So we have. So Nicolas Maduro, while we're waiting, because we're waiting for the president to come through. Back in, this is an article from 2024. So charges in the United States following President Trump's announcement early Saturday. Oh, no, this is today. Maduro, senior Venezuelan officials face charges related to drug trafficking and narco-terrorism conspiracies. According to an unsealed indictment posted on social media, there was an unsealed indictment posted on social media by Pam Bondi. The indictment alleges that starting in 1999, the defendant partnered with international drug trafficking organizations to ultimately transport thousands of tons of cocaine into the United States. Maduro and his wife, now his wife is also, I guess, part of this too, Celia Flores. Yep, this is this morning. Have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Nicolas Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism, conspiracy, cocaine importation, conspiracy, possession of machine guns, destructive devices. Lord have mercy. I should have started right there. Now we have all the we have the tweet here. Okay. Rosa says that the vice president of Venezuela flew to Russia yesterday. Rosa, do you think that he knew and that's why he's like, I'm out of here? I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Shout out to Rosa. Shout out to everybody in the chat, y'all. Oh my God. Thank you guys. Shout out to everybody in the chat for keeping it cute. Thank you. Thank you. You said, I'm like, they still type in the script that they're going to announce. I'm like, hurry up. Hurry. Why y'all keeping us waiting? Stephanie, you literally can't trust anybody in the government. I would agree with that. I'm so there with you. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust this administration. I didn't trust the one before that. I don't trust any of these people. I don't. You know what I mean? But that's just my thought. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Hold up. Now, I wanted to, while we wait for the president, so he's being charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possession of machine guns, destructive devices. I think I read that like twice, they typed it in like 3 times in there. In the United States, they will soon face a full wrath of the American justice on American soil in American courts. This is what PM Bondi just said. On behalf of the entire U.S. DOJ, I would like to thank the President of the United States for having the courage to demand accountability on behalf of the American people, and a huge thank you to our brave military who conducted the incredible and highly successful mission to capture these 2 alleged international traffickers. Wait a minute. So they didn't just capture him, they captured the wife too? They captured the wife, so the wife is in it too? Oh, snap. Thank you, Emmy. I'll check it out. Hold up, y'all. I'm late. They said they capture everybody. Ooh. Wow. Are you Emmy, are you in Venezuela right now? Let me know. Shout out to Emmy, just emailed me, y'all. Oh my God. It's a family affair. They got everybody. Thank you. Hey, Locke, how are you, love? Emmy, let me know in the chat. Are you in Venezuela right now? Kind of curious. I just got your email, so I see it. No, but your whole family is? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. No worries, Ronan. Thank you, Ronan. Ronan, I just basically told everybody, everybody, we've been keeping it pretty cute in the morning. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships, Ronan. Our goal is to keep it cute and just get to the news. Y'all are entitled to whatever opinion you guys have. I'm not here to change that, to tell you politics. I know you guys don't come here for politics. I'm literally just want to know what the news is. That's it. So as long as we keep it cute and respectful, I'm here for it. And so far, I think we've been doing a pretty good job. I don't know. I haven't gotten any heads up about anything. So thank you, Ronan. Rosa says, Rabbit, I sent you something on Discord. All right, let me check it. We're waiting for Trump to address the situation. You sent me something on Discord? Is it like a private message or something? I accept the DM. Okay. Hold up. That's an interesting picture. I gotta show you guys a picture.
Okay, thank you very much. This is
Oh.
Big Duff. We appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it essentially until such time as a proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, many, many Americans, hundreds of thousands over the years of Americans died because of him. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Right now, they're on a ship. They'll be heading to ultimately New York, and then a decision will be made, I assume, between New York and Miami or Florida. But we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place. For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. And you all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over, in particular, the United States, Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide. And he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they call police.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Brutal. But they're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate our military, Pete, and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. A little bit of a different kind of a threat, but we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have two, on average, 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore. The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're walking their daughters. They're walking their children, their wives. They walk to restaurants. Restaurants are opening all over Washington, D.C. So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military. And I want to thank law enforcement. It's been amazing. And they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and crime is down. We've just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called, great person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know, in a certain very nice part of Louisiana. And we have done that. It was a rough section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing. And we've only been there for 2.5 weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster and the mayor was a disaster, but it knocked down crime. But we're pulling out of there. When they need us, we'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. That's long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need the credit. But we'll be pulling out when they need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the country.
All right. Can we get to the news, please?
They sent, raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were in all of the cities I mentioned. Tren de Aragua, and they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people. And now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. There will no longer be threats. For years, I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans whose lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan terrorist organization. Really one of the worst. One of the worst, they say the worst. Americans like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungary, what happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons, a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions. They sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States, but no longer. And we have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and sold American oil, American assets, and American platforms, costing us billions and billions of dollars. They did this a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They took all of our property. It was our property. We built it. And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill. And the socialist regime stole it from us during those previous administrations, and they stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it. America will never allow foreign powers to rob our people or drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region and acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they used those weapons last night. Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries. And not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines. And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Monroe Document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago. The future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now. Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our national security. Just like tariffs are, they've made our country rich, and they've made our national security stronger than ever before. But these are the iron laws that have always determined global power. And we're going to keep it that way. We will secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels, and we will defend our citizens against all threats, foreign and domestic. Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever to defend America, but I will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options until United States demands have been fully met and fully satisfied. All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they aren't just fair, even to their people. The dictator and terrorist, Maduro, is finally gone in Venezuela. People are free. They're free again. It's been a long time for them, but they're free. America is a safer nation this morning. It's a prouder nation this morning because it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's a fantastic man. I've worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect. I worked with some that just weren't good. But this guy is fantastic. I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice. And I'm very proud of him. And I'm very proud of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, can you explain how the U.S. will run Venezuela?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Finally, a commander-in-chief the world respects and the American people deserve. And as the president said, words can barely capture the bravery and the power and the precision of this historic operation. A massive joint military and law enforcement raid flawlessly executed by the greatest Americans our country has to offer. American warriors are second to none, the best in the world and the best of our country. What all of us witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit, gallantry, and glory of the American warrior. I'm simply humbled by such men. And I tip my hat to our chairman, Dan Raisin Kane, and all those Americans who stood watch last night. Our warriors are the elite of America. And again, President Trump has your back. No other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close, could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president has ever shown this kind of leadership, courage, and resolve. The most powerful combination the world has ever seen. As the president said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can project our will anywhere, anytime. The coordination, the stealth, the lethality, the precision, the very long arm of American justice, all on full display in the middle of the night. Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't. He effed around and he found out. President Trump is deadly serious about stopping the flow of gangs and violence to our country. Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was stolen from us. And deadly serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is about the safety, security, freedom, and prosperity of the American people. This is America first. This is peace through strength, and the United States War Department is proud to help deliver it. Welcome to 2026, and under President Trump, America is back. I'd like to welcome now our chairman, Chairman Raising Cane, to give a few more details about the operation. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning. Last night, on the order of the President of the United States and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolas and Cecilia Maduro. This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk to you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists. And we could not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise, it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise. Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force. Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets, in early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel. So as the president said, they could be brought to justice. And as the president said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the president to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings. But when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern time last night, the president ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. he said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed. And those words were transmitted to the entire joint force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49, and there's simply no match for American military might. As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area. The goal of our air component is, was, and always will be to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home. As the force crossed the last point of high terrain where they'd been hiding in the clutter, we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of surprise. As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force while apprehending the indicted persons. On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force in self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit, but remained flyable, and as the president said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission. As the operation unfolded at the compound, our air and ground intelligence teams provided real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision, with no loss of U.S. life. After securing the indicted persons, the force began to prep for departure. Helicopters were called in to exfiltrate the extraction force, while fighter aircraft and remotely piloted aircraft provided overhead coverage and suppressive fire. There were multiple self-defense engagements as the force began to withdraw out of Venezuela. The force successfully exfiltrated and returned to their afloat launch bases, and the force was over the water at 3:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with indicted persons on board. And both Maduro and his wife were embarked aboard the USS Iwo Jima. In closing, what we've witnessed today is a powerful demonstration of America's joint force. We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we debrief, we rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we cannot get it wrong. Our jobs are to integrate combat power so when the order comes, we can deliver overwhelming force at the time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud today of our joint force and filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission too difficult for these incredible professionals and the families that stand by them and support them. As we stand here this morning, our forces remain in the region at a high state of readiness, prepared to project power, defend themselves, and our interests in the region. This operation is a testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold accountable those who threaten peace and stability. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women who executed this mission. Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Well, I don't have much to add to what you've heard now, other than the following points. Nicolas Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognized him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we saved $50 million.
Shout out to Amy, by the way, or exactly. Emily.
Don't let anybody claim it. Nobody deserves it but us.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States. And the president addressed it. There's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy. But instead, he wanted to play big boy. And so now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody. But don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that, I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Is that a message for Cuba? Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
You said that the U.S. is going to run Venezuela. So who's in power right now?
Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but it's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Mr. President.
Does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, they always say boots on the ground. So we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole our oil. We built that whole industry there, and they just took it over like we were nothing. And we had a president that decided not to do anything about it. So we did something about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you explain the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
It's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
Mr. President. What's the group you mentioned that would run Venezuela?
Well, it's largely going to be for a period of time the people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead, I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, we have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement for people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
Mr. President,
Rubio would be.
you said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship
Well,
going?
I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. He just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So just what your message is
Well,
about
he
that.
has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
Mr. President,
did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved.
Sure. We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
If I can add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, A lot of ships out there, they sort of knew we were coming. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakage.
Mr. President, you were one of the only people to watch this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. The safe place is all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. People were wondering, do we get them by surprise? Sort of surprised, but they were waiting for something. It was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today. But he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds, they say on average. Regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it.
So where's Maduro going to be?
Go ahead, finish.
Where is Maduro going to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact
Well,
whereabouts?
eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York? Do you know?
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes afterwards.
Not with
Did
me,
that
though.
weigh on your decision
Well, that's
making?
what we had different presidents, but with me, that's not true. With me, we've had a perfect track record of winning. We win a lot, and we win. If you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was incredible. Right now, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East because of that. If we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victory. You've had only victories. You've had no losses. Yeah.
Mr. President, can you? How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want the Venezuelan people to hold elections?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. We're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's blow up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. It can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country.
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio and
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes to
terms
the
of
oil and
China
drugs?
and Russia, Russia, when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that? Oh,
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of Venezuela?
That you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time. It was stolen from you. But you're going to have peace and you're going to have safety. You're going to have justice. You're going to have a country. You're going to have a real country. You're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country and they destroyed it. Remember, I said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids. That's what would have happened. Had we lost the election, the 2024 election, we suffered so badly. When you look at the border from 2020, what they did, what Joe Biden administration did to our country should never be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we would be exactly where Venezuela was in terms of, I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids. And that's what would have happened.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela? And will you be sending in U.S. military
They're going
troops
to be a team
provide?
that's working with the people of Venezuela
Oh.
to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over. You have a vice president who's been appointed by Maduro. And right now she's the vice president and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn as president just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco and she said, we'll do whatever you need. I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice.
Vice President
We're gonna have this
left.
done right. We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave like everybody else, leave and say, let it go to hell. If we just left, it has zero chance of ever coming back. We'll run it properly. We'll run it professionally. We'll have the greatest oil companies in the world go in and invest billions and billions of dollars and take out money, use that money in Venezuela. And the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also, I can't stress this strongly enough, the people that got thrown out of Venezuela that are now in the United States. And frankly, some want to stay and some probably want to go back. Yeah.
So, Mr.
President,
What's being done to protect Americans in the country, and were any of the detained Americans
Well, right now they're
rescued
very
last night?
protected because nobody's going to mess with us. They're very protected. The people of, and we let them know that you better not touch one of them.
Are you concerned that bad elements of the Maduro regime will remain in place?
Well, we know who they are. We're on them, and they're acting much differently now than they would have acted 2 days ago.
And what can you
Okay,
say
wait,
about
behind you, please.
Mr. President, why is running a country in South America America first?
Well, I think it is because we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors. We want to surround ourselves with stability. We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world. And we want to make sure we can protect it.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, is there a message here for Cuba and Diaz-Canel?
Well, Cuba is an interesting case. Cuba is, not doing very well right now. That system has not been a very good one for Cuba. The people there have suffered for many, many years. And I think Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now, very badly failing nation. And we want to help the people. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba, but we want to also help the people that were forced out of Cuba and living in this country. Do you want to say something about that, Marco, please?
Well, I mean, I just gave you a statement a few minutes ago about, when the president speaks, you should take him seriously. So suffice it to say, Cuba is a disaster. It's run by incompetent, senile men, and in some cases, not senile, but incompetent nonetheless. It has no economy. It's in total collapse. And by the way, they were, all of the guards that helped protect Maduro, this is well known, their whole spy agency, all that were full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems the Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba. They tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint. So, yeah, look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least a little bit.
Cutting off the oil flow to Cuba from Venezuela?
Well, the president already announced a week ago that anything that's sanctioned, it's sanctioned oil, it's not going to be allowed to get there. So that's an
The answer is yes.
Mr. President,
Mr.
Yeah.
President,
Is the U.S. aware of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President,
How many hesitations about Machado?
Mr. President, on Monday,
I think it'd be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect.
Mr. President, is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating?
Why can't Machado run it?
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming out of the ground is very substantial. So it's not going to cost
So
us
the U.S.
anything.
isn't going to dedicate
We
any
will.
money to.
Well, we want
redevelop
safety
the-
there. We want to be surrounded by countries that aren't housing all of our enemies all over the world. That's what was happening, and you don't want to have that. But we're going to be rebuilding, and we're not spending money. The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago. A lot of money is coming out of the ground. We're going to get reimbursed for all of that. We're going to get reimbursed for everything that we spend. So it's going to be a very important. This is a very big evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries. And we also have to have energy, very important. We have to have energy that's real energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5% of the energy out of the ground. You take a look, it was such a disaster. So what's going to happen with Venezuela, I think, over the next period of a year is going to be a great thing. And the people of Venezuela will be the biggest beneficiaries.
Mr. President, on Monday, U.S. military.
Mr. President, thank you. What did you last speak to Maduro about when you spoke? And is the
Well,
US
I don't
at
want to get
war
into
with
the
Venezuela?
conversations, but I did have conversations with him, and I said, you got to surrender. And I actually thought he was pretty close to doing so, but now he wished he did. Yeah.
Mr. President, can you explain? You said that Maduro is responsible for drug trafficking. You recently pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was convicted on many drug trafficking. Can you explain how these two situations are
Well,
different? And would you ever pardon Maduro?
I endorsed, as you know, the winning president, the man who won in Honduras. I endorsed the man who won in Chile. I endorsed the man who won in Argentina. And we are doing very well with that whole group. What the man that I pardoned was if you could equate it to us, he was treated like the Biden administration treated a man named Trump. That didn't work out too well for them. This was a man who was persecuted very unfairly. He was the head of the country. He was persecuted very unfairly. And there are a number of them. And we felt that it was a very unfair situation that happened to him. He's also a party member of the man who won. So obviously the people liked what I did. And one of the reasons that was done is because of the fact that the party in power felt very strongly that that man was treated very badly. I studied it very quickly, and then I studied it in great detail. I went to a lot of the people standing behind me, and they felt that that man was persecuted and treated very badly. That's why I gave him a pardon.
Mr. President, you referenced boots on the ground earlier. Can you just sort of button this up? Do you envision the U.S. military having a presence in Venezuela as the U.S. runs that
Well,
country?
no, we're going to have a presence in Venezuela as it pertains to oil, because we have to have, we're sending our expertise in. So you may need something, not very much. But no, we're going to be taking out a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground. And that wealth is going to the people of Venezuela and people from outside of Venezuela that used to be in Venezuela. And it goes also to the United States of America in the form of reimbursement for the damages caused us by that country. So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you. Do you have one? Yes, please. You were so nice before. I'm going to give you the final question. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Mr.
Unless it's a bad question, in
It's
which
about
case I'll
Putin.
go one word.
It's about Putin. If you want
About Putin. Well,
Okay.
that's always nice.
You had a
to talk
phone.
about Putin.
You had a phone call with him
Yeah.
on Monday. Did he talk at all about Maduro? Did y'all talk about this?
No, we didn't.
And
We
then-
never spoke about Maduro.
Are you mad at him right now? I mean, there's this
I'm not
intelligence.
thrilled with Putin. I'm not thrilled with Putin.
Whoa.
He's killing too many people.
There was that
I
intelligence.
thought that would be so. I settled 8 1/4 war. You know what the 1/4 was? Thailand and Cambodia. I did it again. They broke out, and I did it in about 5 hours, and I settled it. I'm giving myself 1/4, so I'm up to now 8 1/4. In other words, I settled the war, but then they broke out. They had a pretty bad breakout over the last 4 days. I got them to go back to peace. So I only give 1/4. I thought the easiest one would be, one of the easier ones would be Russia, Ukraine. It's not. And they both have done some pretty bad things. And look, that's Biden's war. That's not my war. But I want to stop the lives. Did you see where last month, 30,000, it was 27,000 the month before. 30,000, mostly soldiers, were killed this last month. 30,000. I want to stop that. You know, I got NATO to pay 5% instead of the 2% that they weren't paying. They weren't paying 2, now they pay 5. And we send them a lot of munitions. We send them a lot of things, missiles and various other things, a lot. And they pay. The United States is not losing money. We're probably making money on that. It's the last thing I care about. I just want to stop all those people. We're losing 25, 30,000 human beings that come from 2 places that are very far away. But if I can stop, because it's something I've been pretty good at doing, deals, I guess. It's all a deal. Life is a big deal. But if I can stop that war and stop 30,000 young people, in addition to the fact that people are being killed in Kiev, people are being killed in other cities throughout, a much smaller number, but they're being killed, viciously killed. So I'm not happy about it. I thought that would be something that would get solved. We have Mr. Witkoff here. I think that we're making progress, but that's a war that should have never happened. If I were president, it would have never happened. Putin says it. Everybody says it. If I were president, that would have never happened. But I inherited that war. That was Joe Biden, Zelensky, and Putin. I came into the situation, and it's a mess. And I will say this. I watched an operation last night that was so precise, that was so brilliant. I mean, it was incredible. If we had our people, like this general and our people involved, that war would not have gone on very long, that I can tell you.
You told me
That war, to use an old term, that war has become a bloodbath. And we want it to get stopped. Thank you very much.
Are you concerned a rogue Venezuelan general to take over the country?
Can you talk about your conversation with the vice president?
That was a really good question that y'all should have asked, honestly. Okay, So let me give you the skinny. All right. So Rose had said in that she had super chatted several about an hour ago, and she had said that the vice president had basically fled to Russia. So Vice President, I think it's Delcy Rodriguez in Russia. So that's why she can't take over. But my thing is how come she's also not charged? Because it's kind of like, well, isn't this? I would assume that you're kind of in somewhat in cahoots. They got the whole family charged, guys. I'm looking at the indictment as we speak. See if I can pull it up. Okay, I think this is the indictment. I don't see a date on it. I'm pretty sure it's not the one from 2020. This is recent. See if I can remove this and share my screen with you guys. And welcome, guys. Thank you guys for keeping it cute. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. Let me shout out some people. Ronan gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Ronan. Thank you. And Rabbit, I sent you something on Discord. I just checked it. It was the arrest photo of Maduro. Thank you, Ronan. You gifted twice. Thank you so much, Ronan. Thank you. And James also gifted. Thank you. And Kellyanne, thank you again for becoming a member. Shout out to everybody that's gifting, y'all. This is like, and Rose, thank you for being a member for a year. Thank you. This is for me, it's like I really try to keep it cute when it comes to this. You said I'm gonna send you a video of this is the vice president and the brother, the other 2 people running the country. They were being prosecuted because they were also criminals. Guys, one thing we have to agree with. I'm side eyeing the situation in terms of intent. I want to believe that there's some really positive intent out of here. But as soon as I heard we're running the country and the oil piece, of course, that just kind of it's a lot of red flags. But you have people like Emily and you have people out there that have felt like their lives and their families and everything has been in ruins because of the way in which this country has run. Okay, no different than Fidel Castro. When when you meet people that are Cuban and they're coming from that, it's not so much that you're selling out. It's just that imagine living in those conditions. It's difficult, right? People can move out. Some people can't. Some people can't leave that country because they're destined to be there because they have to be there. They don't have the resources to leave. And then when you leave, then you risk being deported back or whatever. Like that's a real thing. So for me, it's like we can't just tell who am I to tell the people of Cuba or the people of Venezuela how they should feel about their country when I'm not living that. None of us are living that. I may not like this president and I may not like any of these political people, but y'all, we are not, until you're living in that situation, then you can't tell somebody how and what. Does that make sense? I wouldn't expect a Venezuelan to tell me as an American how I should be living or thinking or anything like that, just like I can't do that to them. My concern, and I will tell you right now, is that we need a Venezuelan running it. We don't need an American running it. Okay? We don't need our values, especially when we got a lot of shit going on here over there. We don't need that. I 1000% agree with that. But for whatever reason, that's what's being done. I don't know what, that's why I'm kind of on the fence on this one, honestly. Because like I said, unless you're living in that leadership where people are trying to tell you how much toilet paper you can buy and how much of this you can do and that and the other and what it looks like, that we don't know shit. We don't. I'm just like, I'm giving you the real. Okay. And that's why I'm like, we gotta be careful. We do. Honestly. I just want a Venezuelan running it. I don't want an American running it. That's how I see that. That would be crazy. That's like, if something were to happen to us, let's get a non-American to run it. Huh? What? I don't like that. I don't. They need to run their own country. They need to do their own things. If they needed help taking down this guy, okay, that's done. Somebody else come in. That's it. That's how I see it. But y'all let me know what you guys think. Let me see. Calvin says there's a new sheriff in town. Yeah, we don't need that. But thank you, Calvin. Thank you so much for the $2. And this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. These are the kinds, like, it's so hard. And I've said this before, it's so hard not to make things political when they are, but we should be able to talk about things that we disagree with. I do it all the time in my life, all the time. we may not know each other personally in this chat and stuff like that, but that's how I see it. We will never be able to grow and excel in everything in life if we cannot have conversations that are difficult, even with the people that you don't agree with, even with the people that vote against your best interests. Does that make sense? That's how I see it. What are you wearing? Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. Let's look at this indictment. He said, hell, I can't even leave my state even though I want to, let alone the country. Thank you, Ronan. Thank you. You know, we got to be mindful of that, all right? No, we not go bye-bye right now. Give me a second, okay, deal? Shake my hand. Thank you. Yes, honey. All right. Oh, thank you, honey. All right, let's get into this real quick. Thank you, Ronan, again. And y'all are amazing. Thank you guys for keeping it cute. Hit that likey like button. And you know what? I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna start a channel called I Don't Like Politics, where we can really run mouth about every party and talk about every party. I'm down for it. And like I said, I like the psychology behind it. I'm here for it, to study it. But I'm here to talk shit about every party, even if you don't like it. And if you do. Okay. Let's look into this. So by the way, they're not just going after the wife. They're going after son too. Nicolás Ernesto Maduro Guerra, and then the prince, Nicolásito. Nicolásito's the son, okay? Hector, or the prince, they call him the prince, Nicolásito, whole damn, they're going for the whole family. Hector, is it Guerrero Flores? Nino Guerrero. Emily, if you're in the chat, who's Nino Guerrero? I don't know why there's balloons all over the place. Who is Nino Guerrero? I don't know who that is. I've never heard that name. But anyways, I've heard of the other ones, just not this guy. Okay, so this is the introduction. This is a superseding indictment that's been unsealed. So for the last 25 years, leaders of Venezuela have abused their positions of public trust and corrupted once legitimate institutions to import tons of cocaine into the United States. Nicolas Maduro Moros, the defendant. Huh? Oh, I don't have any. Thank you. Is the defendant at the forefront of the corruption and has partnered with his co-conspirators to use illegally obtain authority and the institutions he used to transport thousands of tons of cocaine to the United States since his early days in the Venezuelan government. Maduro Moros has tarnished every public office he has held as a member of the Venezuelan Assembly. Now, let me make sure this is the correct one. I'm pretty sure this is the unsealed indictment. Hold up. Yeah, because they talk about Tren de Aragua here. Yeah, this is the correct one. So it further goes that he has corrupt every public office in Venezuela. A Venezuelan minister of foreign affairs, Maduro Moros, provided Venezuelan diplomatic passports to drug traffickers. So I'm curious to know which drug traffickers he's speaking on. Okay, do we got a name? Or are we just putting blankets? Because I want a name. And facilitated diplomatic covers for planes used by money launderers to transport drugs to Mexico to Venezuela, as Venezuela president and now de facto ruler Maduro Moros allows cocaine fuel corruption to flourish for his own benefit, for his benefit of members of his ruling regime, and for the benefit of his own family members. Nicolás, the defendant, now sits in a corrupt, legitimate government that for decades has leveraged government power to protect and promote illegal activity, including drug trafficking. The drug trafficking has enriched and entrenched Venezuelan political and military elite, including ministers of the interior. Okay, so ministers of the interior, justice and peace, Diosdado Cabello Redondo, Rondo, the defendant, and former Minister of Interior of Justice Ramon Chacin, I think it's Chacin, the defendant. The massive drug trafficking has also concentrated power and wealth in the hands of Maduro and the family, including his wife, the First Lady, Celia Adela Flores de Maduro, the defendant Maduro Moro's son, members of the Venezuelan National Assembly. So Nicolás is the member of the National Assembly, the son, Nicolasito the Prince, the defendant, the cycle of narcotics-based corruption lines with the pockets of Venezuelan officials and their families, while also benefiting the narco-terrorism who also operated with impunity on Venezuelan soil and have helped produce and protect and transport tons of cocaine into the United States. Look, here's the deal, man, with this indictment. Okay? Here's the deal with this indictment. I always have a problem, and I kind of I do. The side eye the situations where it's like you can't remove somebody. You can't even, whether it's impeachment or their family is like 10 or 15 years within the presidency, and then it goes over to their son and their child. Like that is a side eye to me. That to me is a side. I should be able to vote out and do what I have to do. That situation right here is concerning overall, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I know those Spanish names are serious, man. I can't even pronounce them. The more names you have and the more intimidating you come across. I got 5 last names. Listen, how many last names do I have? I can't overtake a country. I'm just saying. shout out to my Latinos, man. It's una dictura. It's a dictatorship. I don't do dictatorships. I don't like that in our country either. We don't do dictatorships over here. No, we don't. We should be able to vote you out, throw you out, and do what we have to do with you. That's a dictatorship. That's a familial dictatorship, right? No different than Fidel Castro in that whole situation. When you got 5, 6 different last names, and I'm speaking because I know as a Latina, how many last names do I have? 1, 2, and then I'm married. So I got 2 different about 3 different last names. I don't like that. Luckily, my birth certificate is kind of like that too. So just so people are aware. And it's also a Catholic thing, right? Because we come from Catholics too. So just people are aware. Okay. Let's keep it going. All right. That 5 last name thing is like, oh my God, can I just say the first and the last? Okay. Anyways, so at various times since the 1999, the Venezuelan officials, including Nicolas, and the Diosa Cabello Rodon, Ramon Rodriguez, Chassin, the defendants have partnered in narco terrorism. Okay, so they're saying that they have partnered in narco terrorism, which is from the Fuerza Armadas. I can't even say the word, revolucionarias. Fuerzas Armadas Revolucionarias de Colombia, Ejército de Liberación Nacional, the Sinaloa cartel, the Zetas, they've included all these other cartels, and Tren de Aragua, including the TDA leader Hector Flores. Okay. His co-conspirators have for decades partnered with some of the most violent and prolific drug traffickers and partners. All right, I want to see some receipts on this because, again, this is just a charging document. So they named the defendants. We're not even going to... okay, we already know the defendants. The allegations are narco-terrorism organization working in partnership with the defendants. Okay, the FARC, which we've just pronounced the name in full. No, that's not sunscreen, honey. You can borrow this. Give me 1 second, y'all. Here, you can draw this one. Thank you. No, not this one. Girl, no. Thank you. That one. Thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry about that. You said... Let's see. We just kind of glancing through this, y'all. Not the narco-terroristic organizations working in partnership with the defendants. So there's a terrorist group, narco-terrorism, that's working with the defendants. And this is what they say, that it was founded in 1964 and became the largest producer of cocaine worldwide. And it generates significant revenue through the trafficking of cocaine. And it was used to fund its operations, including large-scale weapons purchases in the terrorist attacks. The FARC has also directed violent acts towards the United States persons and property in foreign jurisdictions, including but not limited to Colombia. For example, from a lease in in or about 2003, on or about 2008, the AFRC leadership ordered ARC memberships to kidnap and murder United States citizens and attack United States interests in order to dissuade the United States from continuing its efforts to fumigate and disrupt the FARC's manufacturing and distribution of cocaine and cocaine paste. Consistent with these activities, in or about 1997, the United States Department designated the FARC as a foreign terrorist, the FTO, pursuant to 219 of the Immigration Nationality Act. Okay, so this was November 30th, 2021. The United States Department removed the FARC and the FTO lists and simultaneously designed two of the FARC successors organizations as the FTOs pursuant section 219 of the INA. Okay, so just organization talk. Let me see what else. Lord have mercy, I haven't had enough coffee for this. The ELN has operated as a Colombian terrorist group since 1965, and it was overthrown and dedicated to overthrow the elected government of Colombia. So these groups, they're saying, the government is saying, the United States government is saying that these groups not only are terrorists and they're, working in conjunction with other people in other countries and whatnot, but they're overthrowing governments and kind of overtaking these countries to run narco-terrorism and narco-terrorism groups. Okay, one second, y'all. Huh? I'm not ready for this, y'all. I know it's the tongue. Y'all see that? It's like, ooh. Then they mentioned the Sinaloa cartel based in the Mexican state of Sinaloa. So roots since 1980s. All right, and then we have, of course, we know El Chapo, El Mayo, former partnership that led to the transformation of the Mexican Federation, the Sinaloa cartel. So they're linking all these groups together. The Zetas, okay, that's another prolific narco group from Mexico. And they've initiated attacks against the Mexican government. Yes, honey, I see it. The TDA, the Tren de Aragua, which we've heard here. What I was bothered by the mention of Trump and the Tren de Aragua. He said that in the Aurora, this is what he's talking about, and I'm familiar with the areas. I don't know why your messages are disappearing. They're not. They're here. You said get a Red Bull. I've done videos on this. The Tren de Aragua, the overtaking the apartments in Aurora. That's not all correct. And that's that shit, that Fox News shit that I don't like. I'm sorry for those that are like, yeah, you know this, and y'all believe everything that Fox News puts down. No. I know the area very well. It's not just Tren de Aragua people that have taken over. No. Just so people are familiar. I don't buy it. I don't feed into that part. That made me so mad when that was going on because that was not the case at all. All right? Just so the people are aware. I don't do I'll play Fox News here and there. But Tren de Aragua was not taking over all those apartments. A lot of those apartments have been taken and overdone and run down, and those landlords were not doing right. And so what do? They go over here, they brought in, they said, well, it's Tren de Aragua. No. Okay? I'm just not buying it. And when he said this, I'm sorry. I know that's some of y'all voted for that guy. I get it. Okay? I'm just saying, I don't believe any of that. Huh? Let's see. Hold up. And so then it says the TDA taking over criminal activities. Tren de Aragua, that's who they're saying. All right. Defendants, corrupt, drug trafficking, and correction to narco-terrorism group. Connections. Remember, this is how they're connected, and they're saying that this is why. So when Chico said about the international law, so international law, yes, you're not, you can make an argument to that, but there are exceptions to that law, especially if they feel like the country is so, ran by certain terroristic groups that they can take over the country, so much so that they can overthrow whoever's there and remove and replace. That's where there's exceptions to that law. But again, they're going to have to make an argument for this. This is why I'm like looking at this and I'm like, all right, so do we have connections that basically say that that's correct, that this country has been overtaken, and these are the groups, and what do those receipts look like? What does that evidence look like? What are the connections? So they're going to have to make an argument for that, and then they're basically listing the whole family as being part of that narco terroristic group. Overt acts and furtherance of defendants' drug trafficking and narco-terrorism conspiracies. I'm going to just skim through this, y'all, because I do not have enough energy and I need to go get some coffee for this. We'll probably be live. I don't think we'll talk about this, but I definitely wanted to get my hands on this. Statutory allegations. Okay, here we go. So count 2 cocaine importation, excuse me, in conspiracy. Count 3, possession of machine guns and destructive devices. Count 4, conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices. I don't know what the rules and laws are for other countries and their machine guns and gun laws, so keep that in mind. And they are taking everything. Let's see. I'm reviewing this. All right, and then Jay Clayton with his 5th grade signature. Okay. You got a crazy email for me? All right. Thank you. Let me see it real quick before I have to head out, y'all, because I do need some coffee. I'm crashing. I need your shoes. You need my shoes. Oh. Who's this? Okay, honey, give me a second. Oh, is this Tren de Aragua? Hold up. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me show you what Emily just sent me. Is it bomb? My Discord is bomb, you said? I silenced the notifications because I was getting them all the time, y'all. This guy right here. Hold on.
Examples of electoral fraud in the history of democracy. How they do it? A corrupt government always finds a way. Venezuela's electoral machines are made by Smartmatic, a company that reported its unfortunate knowledge of the lack of witnesses and unquestionable fraud by the Venezuelan government. Basically, the government just...
And by the way, isn't this what we're trying to do? I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. They're trying to get Trump in for another term, right? That's my understanding. And they're trying to figure out how to, I don't want that. I'm cool with the 2 terms. I don't even like the 2 terms. I'm good with 1 term. But to me, this is that thing right here that I'm like, I'm cool. We don't need another 3rd term. Like, people should be able to move it along, especially when you're, in my opinion, it looks like you're, I don't know, like everybody was so worried about Biden. I'm starting to worry about this guy's health too. Y'all worried about, everybody was worried about Biden's health. I'm worried about this guy's health too. And I'll say Biden's health, he looks like he was declining. He did.
Makes up the numbers. Who did it? Nicolás Maduro and his entire team of criminals, drug traffickers, and otherwise straight up cringe wannabe celebrities on their abominable socialist left. What's being done to prevent fraud? Maria Corina Machado, the opposition leader who was barred from running, teamed up with Edmundo Gonzalez so he would represent the unified democracy movement in the country. They are counting votes 1 by 1 using the physical printouts from the machine. Despite government efforts to destroy them, they've recovered 73% of the vote at least already. Early results show irreversible trends of Edmundo beating Maduro by a huge margin. What happens next? To avoid a double government standoff as has happened in the past, we need a response strong and sounding enough from the international community that can validate and verify the opposition's win, and a robust enough response from the military internally to take Maduro's regime out of power. This isn't that far-fetched. Mubarak in Egypt in 2011, or Omar al-Bashir in Sudan in 2019. Guy was in power for 30 years and the military stepped in to get that dictator out. The good news is we've already seen the Guardia Nacional and some police members joining the movement. How can you help? Write your senator, your representative, tell them to help Venezuela and Machado and Gonzalez. Spread.
Now, this is from 2024. Okay, just so people are aware, this isn't like brand new news and stuff like that. Yeah, and you know what, Sister Crab, I was thinking, like, you know how like in the military, you got these, you can't be in the military, right? If you can't. And I'm not saying that we're going to make the president do some agility test or anything like that, but you should be able, people should publicly know what your health records look like. The fact that you're incompetent, like we need to know, okay, honey, we need to know kind of where your mental health is at before you take on a situation like that. Why isn't that a public record and concern? We should be able to know. And it's always been speculated, every president, when there's a decline, that they start kind of like there's a decline in things and whatnot. I was concerned about Biden when he was up in there, and I'm like, yo, you're not even making sense anymore. And it's the fact. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. People get old, people start we start to age. That's just a fact, right? Cognitively and whatnot, we should be able, some of these people need mental health evaluations every so often and whatnot. I'm down for it, especially if they run a second term, right? Doesn't matter what party you vote for, because if your like incompetence or your mental decline is making you lose your shit, we should be able to have a say about it. Okay, here, drink that. What? You gotta wait. Okay, guys. I'm I'm 47 and I'm not a president. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, yeah, and I get it for celebrities, but here's the deal: when it comes to a president, I don't know, man. I feel like there needs to be more. I think if you're electing to run for that position, just like you would go to the military, we need to make sure. And I'm not saying we're disclosing X, Y, and Z. We're disclosing if you're if you're mentally incapable of running this country after a while. Stuff happens as you decline. I mean, Trump right there he looks like he hasn't slept. Maybe that's what it is. You know what I mean? He looked like he hadn't slept in a while, but I mean, he loves to ramble. That's just a given. Like he rambles about something. I'm like, I know that was not on the script that they wrote for you. Okay, girl, I would hate to be a script writer. Now, here's the question that I have. They have a vice president, and she left the day before they were doing all this to Russia. So clearly she knew what was up. They probably pulled her in and said, hey, we about to do this. You're either with us or you're against us. And then they took her out to Russia. Now, I didn't know that the bromance was over with Putin. What happened? What happened to the Putin bromance? I thought they would have been together for a while. That's crazy work. Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go because I gotta go get some coffee. Y'all, I am crashing. I need coffee. I didn't sleep well last night. I'm gonna let you go. He's still there, but they're not friends no more. You remember? They asked him about Putin. He's like, we're not friends no more. That Jersey Shore situation is done. So what? She want candy. All right, guys. I gotta let y'all go. I gotta go get coffee. Yeah, can I get some coffee? Can you go and let me drink coffee? Hey, I want to thank everybody. First of all, y'all really kept it cute. Mexico paid close attention. Okay, thank you, Calvin, so much for the $2. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are amazing. I really want to thank everybody for keeping it cute. I know we got a little bit hyphy in the chat, and I'm telling you, like, a lot of these topics are interesting to me, but I don't think I want to do it here. However, we did it here because there is a news and criminal aspect worthiness to this, because that's what we do. We talk about the training stuff. That's what we do. But I got to go and I got to get some coffee. And Emily, if you're in the chat, shout out to Emily, y'all. Keep, regardless of where you stand, keep the people of Venezuela in your prayers, in your thoughts, wherever you stand. You know what I mean? Because this is a scary time. Okay, girl, a monumental time for people. It's very easy for us to talk about what somebody should do, but until you're living that reality, we don't know. And that's the whole thing. Until you're living that reality, we don't know. So thank you, Emily, for coming into my chat, sharing and supporting. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.